Hey guys, welcome to another video. We are in the middle of Idaho. Guess why? I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you why, but guess. Okay, don't guess. We are going on Drift Week 10. I'm super excited. I haven't really made an announcement. This is my announcement, and we are on our way there right now. But you know I wouldn't just post this video without doing a prep video. So this is me prefacing the prep video. So let's back it up to 10 days ago, all the progress that happened to get to the point we are right now. All right, I'm back from my trip to Europe, and while I was gone, the guys put the motor in the car. Jesse peeled the wrap from the car, so this thing is ready to be worked on. All I've got to do is put the intake manifold on, and then button up a little bit of the wiring, and then make a new VVTi line. I used a non-VVTi block with a VVTi head, so I got to build a dash 4 line that feeds the oil to the head. Now that the wrap's peeled off, we were thinking about it, talking about it. Jesse wants me to paint it white. I think I'm gonna paint it white. I've never had a white car. So that will be cool to have this thing white, and I can do some simple graphics on it that can be changed out. I'm not a huge fan of white cars, but it's kind of just generic basic, so it shouldn't be hard to make that look good. So that's the plan. We'll scuff it, paint it. If we run out of time, I can definitely run it how it is, right? Put a D-spare stripe down the side and it will look good enough. But I would like to have nice fresh paint on this thing and have the body kit and all that stuff together. This has the stupid ugly pocket flares that I don't like, but it also has the front fenders that go along with that. I have it, it works, it doesn't cost me any money. If I bought a kit, I would either want to do the Duck Club or the Scooter Garage, but I don't have time to wait for any of that stuff, or the Part Shop Max kit that they have now. But all that stuff is expensive, I don't have time for it, so I'm gonna run the ugly stuff for now. But if this car ends up being something I really enjoy and really like, I'll probably invest some money into a decent set of over fenders for it. A couple of things I'm not thrilled about. I don't love this mount here, but if I don't find myself another throttle cable that actually fits and goes to that side, and then flip the throttle body over, then I'm just gonna run with that. My only concern is the motor mount's moving, right? They don't move a ton, but if they do move enough to actually pull that throttle a little bit, it's an issue. Maybe not a huge issue, but I don't love that setup, and it's also really ugly. Aside from that, everything's pretty good on this. I do need to add some headlight wiring to it and some basic stuff like that. And then obviously, like I said, paint everything and then put the door handles back in. But my first priority is to get it started, get on the dyno, make sure this engine's gonna work, break it in, change the oil, all that stuff. And then I wanna make sure the car's 100% ready for Drift Week. I've got just about 2 weeks to have this thing ready. So that's plenty of time to make it ready, and obviously I wanna go test it before then. Unlike my usual, I don't wanna wait till the last minute. I wanna be ahead of schedule and have everything figured out before it's time to go. I've also gotta work on my truck and my trailer before we go. So I'm not supposed to take a truck and trailer on Drift Week. Aaron's not thrilled about that, but I don't really have a choice. I'm not gonna buy Airbnbs, we don't have a group, it's kinda last minute. So I gotta sleep in the trailer, and I've got a trailer that I bought for traveling. It's got a sleeping area up front, and then the car goes in the back. I've already tested it with that IS300. It fits, takes my toolbox with it. I can fit all my wheels and tires. I can't afford to buy, 20 or 30 brand new Valinos, so I gotta take a bunch of scrubs that I have. So it's gonna be a budget Drift Week this time, but I don't wanna miss out. So we gotta do what we gotta do. All right, it's time to start this thing up. I guess I'll idle. You wanna fill it while it's running, Jake?
Yeah, I guess so.
We had some oil pressure problems. I had the lines hooked up backwards. So we got that all figured out. Now we got oil pressure. Now let's idle it. Clear?
Yep.
This one's got an EMU Classic. We got 5 bar oil pressure. That's pretty dang good. 6.5. Yeah, that's the good stuff. So we just got some junk 5W30 in there. I just want to flush it out, get the ring scraped and all that crap, and then flush out whatever might be in the block. Drain it out. We'll put some VR1 in there and then put it on the dyno tomorrow. So I just want to idle it for a while tonight, get it all warmed up and stuff, make sure no problems, and then we'll make some power tomorrow. I think last time on this tune, however it was, it made 420, so I'm hoping to do 420 in that area with, it's got ethanol in the tank. I should probably do a blend since we're going on Drift Week. I should probably blend, I should do a 91 octane map and an ethanol map. And then, well, I don't have a flex fuel sensor. I'm not gonna do that. Ethanol only on this trip. All right, guys, I'm back at it working on the IS300 for Drift Week. I'm always struggling to determine what's worth filming. I feel like I film way too many details sometimes and it's kind of boring. So I've been skipping a lot of that, partly because it's boring for me. I assume it's boring for you guys. So I'm just gonna tell you what I've been doing and film some of what I'm doing right now. But I put the car on the dyno. We had some VVTi problems and I was messing with a bunch of stuff trying to figure it out. Turned out on the EMU Classic, you have to use a flyback diode in line between the power and the signal wire, which I know that. I wasn't sure if this car already had it or not, so I was doing a bunch of pin testing and load testing on the wires and all this stuff. Everything checked out good. Tested the solenoid was good. We could actually command the ECU through the output test and it would kill the car and you could watch the cam angle go up. Everything was working how it was supposed to, but the expected cam angle versus the actual when you were running the car would not match. The signal wouldn't actuate the cam. So after a bunch of testing, we figured out that the flyback diode itself was bad. So it had a diode in place, but it was a bad diode. The only way I found that out is because my purple Silvia has an EMU Classic with a VVTi, so we started comparing all the resistance measurements and everything on the two cars, and it wasn't the same. So then I grabbed another flyback diode, measured it compared to the Silvia, and it was spot on. So I cut the one out of this car, put it in, boom, all of a sudden it worked. So got that all solved. Now the VVTi works. Then I was running on the dyno last night a little bit, and the fuel pressure was dropping off. So I started checking into all that stuff today and found out that this has a in-tank pump that feeds a surge tank, and the surge tank has an 044 that feeds the engine. The in-tank pump actually burned up, and like by the time I got it out and tested and smelled it, it smelled like electrical fire. It was really, I've never smelled something that bad. So I got that solved, everything's good. Now I'm gonna do a poll. We're to the point where it's time to dyno. Exciting stuff. I've been talking for 2 minutes about all the stuff that I have done. Now let's get to what I'm actually doing. All right, we got good fuel pressure now. Our cam angle is actually doing what it's supposed to. A lot better than it was. We got good oil pressure. I changed out the oil and the filter after putting this new engine in. Still got problems with the throttle cable sticking and stuff, so I gotta fix that. But it's good enough now we can do some pulls, and I think this car is gonna make 450. Make sure it's all warmed up and everything. Gotta watch that fuel pressure, make sure it stays steady. Like we're a little bit rich under boost. I think our peak boost is about 0.8, 0.9 bar. So I think we're ready to do our first pull. First run wasn't bad, but I know we can do better. I made a couple changes here. Want to do the second run. We did 395 horsepower, 342. I want to see this thing up to 420, 450 at the same boost level. So we still got some timing in it with ethanol. So let's push this thing, see what it'll do. So comparing these two runs, you almost can't tell the difference, and that was adding a degree of timing. You see up top there's a slight separation, but I'm gonna back it off 1 degree because I think we've hit our optimal peak timing. My phone's freaking out. Yeah, we've definitely found our optimal peak timing. So I'm gonna back it off 1 degree to be safe. And then down here where I've been messing with the VVTi, I don't see any gains at all. So I'm gonna back that off a little bit, and I think we're pretty good. The only thing I can do now is add boost. All right guys, we're back at it again today. as I told you before, I'm trying to film less of the nonsense and more of the action. We sanded the car, we got it masked, and now it's time to spray it. So I saved you all the details of doing that work, but now the fun part, spraying it. We're gonna change colors. I'm not gonna tell you what it is yet. All right, so we got some color sprayed. It's not spraying nearly as good as I hoped, nearly as well. I remember on my purple Sylvia, when I painted it, it did the same thing. The paint just, I'm not the guy for spraying like, what do you call it, pearls and all that stuff. But the Sylvia ended up all right. This car's gonna end up all right, but right now it looks really bad to me. But this is the color. We're doing purple. I had some left over from the Sylvia job, and I started thinking to myself, do I spend a bunch of money on paint or do I use what I've already got? So I already liked purple. The car was wrapped purple before. We've kind of been calling it the purple car, so it just made sense to do it purple. And to save money, I'm just spraying the rest of what I had. The problem with that is I don't have a lot of paint, so I can't lay it on super thick, so I'm like being really conservative with the paint, which is also not helping when it doesn't spray out very well, because I can't keep going over and over and over it, because I don't want to run out of paint and end up with side skirts that don't match or whatever. So that's kind of where we're at with this, but it's coming together and it's all one color. The funny thing is, the roof on these cars, Jesse's like, why is your roof dented? And I've been talking about like every single IS300 I've ever had, somehow, for some reason, has Bondo on the roof, has dented roofs, and I don't get it. You had an IS300, didn't you?
Yeah, I found that it's the majority of owners stand on the roof to take pictures.
What was that Facebook group you were talking about?
Why are IS300 owners like this? Every single one of them, it's an Instagram clout photo.
Stand on the roof? You can't stand on anywhere else, you gotta stand on the roof. Seriously, every single one. I'm gonna take a walk. Every single car, and the ones I've had in the past too, same thing. The roofs are dented, and I don't get it. Leave in the comments below why are IS300s always have dented roofs. If you have one, you have a dented roof, tell me about it. Look, here's one. Boom. Bondo, big dents. I don't get it. Look, here's another one. Oh, wait a minute. This is my next project car. This roof is clean. I spoke too soon. Look at that. Look at that. I actually have some plans for this one, but I'll get to that in the future. It actually looks good from 50 feet away. If you don't zoom in too close, it's one color. Check out these skirts. I sprayed some clear on them and they're looking good. I'm running really low on material though. I don't have a ton of material to finish this job. I've got new paint coming, but I want to get all this stuff done as much as I can. Probably the bumpers and stuff I'll finish off later. But the problem is we left the car out overnight and it got a bunch of dust on it, which big surprise, right? So we have to find a way to clean it, and the paper towels and stuff I have are leaving like little pieces of debris behind. So we got to go buy like a real terry cloth towel, and then we'll give it a Windex bath, and then I'll spray clear on it. Hopefully it turns out as good as this other stuff's looking. Man, these skirts, look at that. Glossy, shiny, I love it. Had to make a last minute decision change on the front bumper. We're gonna use a stock bumper, but I don't have a clean one. So this is what we got. It's a little bit broken up. We're gonna get a front lip for it. And then Jesse had a good idea to make it look like it's been through battle, even though it hasn't been on this car. After it's freshly painted, we'll just drill some holes, put some carefully placed zip ties to make it look like it's meant to be that way. But at least it'll all be one color, except for the zip ties, of course. And then we'll have a nice front lip on it. And hopefully it'll make the car look decent and come together. I just want to make sure that it fits the intercooler really well. And I didn't want to use my the BN front bumper. I really don't want to break it on drift week since it's so low. But the BN bumper doesn't fit with this crash bar, but the stock bumper should. So that kind of gets me out of a jam too. Also, the stock bumper is going to fit really well compared to a fiberglass bumper as far as like fitting into all those grooves and all that stuff. Got purple hands. So we're just letting this cure a little bit, and then we can untape it and see how bad it really is. Like these cracks, painted right over these cracks. Look at that, amazing. And then we had a tornado of dust just hit this side, but you actually can't tell that much on it. But when the sun hits it, I see all the splotchiness of really not having enough paint. And then I got a couple of gnarly drips. I shouldn't show this stuff, but it bothers me. Got some Good drips right there, and then all along this door. Let's blend it in a little bit. You still kind of see them, but that's the bad one right there. All of this is obviously covered right there, so I didn't focus too much on that. It's not bad. I give it like a 4 out of 10 for my my abilities. Normally I can do like a 7 out of 10, but I'm not capable of a 10 out of 10. It's a tight fit in the trailer, but it fits. I had this car in here all over the winter, so I know that it fits in here. But obviously we changed a few things, so we had to verify. But the car's in, we can strap it down, get the truck all set, ready to go, and then get on the road. We got a 9-hour drive to Walla Walla, Washington, to Villains. I haven't been there in probably 3 years, but I'm excited to see my homie Nate, all the other guys from up there, the guys from Drift Week. It's gonna be a blast. They're actually, everybody's up there right now doing some sort of canyon cruise, but we didn't have time, so we gotta get up there as quick as possible. Let's hit the road. Thanks for watching, guys. If you liked the video, please go check out our merch store and give us some support, and drop a like and subscribe if you want to support the channel, and we'll catch you in the next video. Bye. The only problem is you and I speak different languages.
It's not a problem. You are thinking one thing, and I saw another thing. Is
No, the problem is you're the smart guy, I'm the dum-dum.
no. You are American. It's very different. It's not them. It's only them.